So, starting back all those weeks ago on Ash Wednesday, we started a journey as a congregation through a sort of Lenten journey, but it started on Ash Wednesday, and the journey ends today. And it was a whole slew of sermon series by myself and others who took different questions each and every week. And we get to our final week today. And the question we're taking on is, who are you looking for? It's a good question. It fits really good with Easter. Why? Because regardless of which gospel you're reading, at some point the women show up and somebody, most likely an angel, went ahead and said to them, who are you looking for? And so we pose that question to you. Who are you looking for? Now, I think this question gets at the core of faith. Core of what it means to be faithful. And especially when we look at this text, it starts to give us clues. Think about it. It's Easter morning. Everything Christ has said to come true has so far come true, right? He was betrayed. He was crucified. He died. He was buried. He denies him 3 times. Prediction after prediction after prediction comes true. And this morning, do we find the apostles gloriously walking in faith? No, we find them cowering above someone's house. This morning, you know who's walking in faith? The women. Why? Because they are seeking. Now, granted, they are seeking a dead body of their friend, of their teacher, of their Messiah. They are seeking to show the body the reverence it was due when it was tortured to death. They are there to grieve. But nonetheless, they are still seeking. Unlike the apostles held up above someone's garage. This becomes ever more important because regardless of which one of the Gospels you read, the women encounter an empty tomb, they encounter an angel or at least someone dressed in white, and that person says, Jesus has risen, he's gone forward to Galilee as he told you. Go to Galilee and meet him, and depending on the author, maybe they run into Jesus too, who also, by the way, reinforces you should be in Galilee. Hey, we got this portion is listening, thank you. Okay? Should go forward to Galilee. And if you come back next week, what you will learn, sort of upcoming events, is that you all remember the Doubting Thomas story, right? That's a week later. We don't know where the women are, do we? We don't hear from them. I suspect because they listened and went to Galilee. You know where the men are? Still held up in Jerusalem above someone's garage, scared that something bad might happen to them. Of course, you all know the story, so Thomas isn't there, right? So the following week, what happens? Jesus shows up to him. I think it's really worth noting. Where are they? Above someone's garage, scared to death, hiding out still. The thing I wish the most was in the Bible was what the conversations between the women and Jesus were for those 3 weeks. Right? Wouldn't that be fascinating? And think of what the apostles missed because they were scared. Jesus is not with them long once he comes back, and they miss 3 weeks. And I think this gets to one of the core parts of one of the biggest misconceptions in Christianity, and that is, what does strong faith look like? What do I mean? Well, when we talk about seeking and wandering and looking, our evangelical brethren use that language to usually indicate either someone who is newish to Christianity, someone who isn't Christian but might be longing to be, or someone who has sort of faltered in faith and therefore is on a journey, right? Any way you cut it, our evangelical brethren will use seeking as some sort of deficiency. We've used it too that way from time to time, unfortunately. And yet, we then go to its opposite and say that someone who is strong in faith is someone who has all the answers. They know the right way to vote, the right way to light candles, the right answer to all the theological questions. They can recite the Nicene Creed and maybe even the small catechism. Right? We say that, we look at that and we go, oh, that person's good in faith. And yet, when we read the Bible, it doesn't back that at all. Think about it. Who is more faithful? The women who show up seeking or the dudes hiding up above someone's garage? Who encounters Jesus? The women, not the guys hiding in a garage. Who goes ahead and gets 3 weeks with Jesus? Not the dudes in the garage. He had to show up twice to get them to just listen. They're making fun of Thomas when he's making fun of all of them. Questioning, seeking, wandering is in fact the life of faith. You may say, now hold on, Pastor. Jesus never did, and isn't he the greatest of all faith? And I would say, oh, so he didn't come to Monday, Thursday, or Good Friday, but we can review those. Monday, Thursday, Jesus goes to the garden. What is he doing in the garden? He is falling on his knees, going to his Father and saying, Father, take this cup from me. Basically, in layman's terms, dude, Dad, your plan is to have me crucified to death? I don't know. I'm for any plan where I don't die horrible death. Can we make that work out, all-powerful creator of the universe? No? Okay, just wondering. Heck, even on Good Friday, we have this moment where Jesus is about to give up his last breath, and he says, God, God, why have you forsaken me? Yet another question, right? You know why I think he says that? I think it's because on that day, he's not the only one to die. Judas takes his life on that morning. And I think that as we confess in the creed year and day and week after week, Jesus in his last moments, as many people do, look at to where they are going, and what he sees is hell. And what he doesn't see is Judas. And I think he goes, seriously, I'm going there, not the guy who betrayed me, God? You want more on that? Check out my Good Friday sermon. It's on Facebook. Here's the thing. The life of a strong Christian of faith is a life where you start with a question. And that question calls you to action. And that action calls you to seeking. And that seeking causes you to have a moment where you meet the divine. And maybe you receive your answer, but you definitely receive more questions. It's like tribbles in Star Trek. Like you start with one and you get rid of it only to find you have two more. And the 2 become 4, and the 4 become 8, and the 8 becomes 16. You follow how geometric math works, right? It's the same way in the Christian life. We like to pretend that the Christian life is about having all the answers, and yet the Christian life is about never stopping asking questions. Because you ask the question, you go on the journey, you encounter the divine, you get more questions. To go on more journeys, to encounter the divine again. And what is greater in life than those moments where you encounter the divine? What else is there to do but to search God out and find God? But finding God is not like, have you found Jesus? I don't know. I looked behind the couch, but he wasn't there. It's not that sort of find. It's a never-ending journey. But it's a journey of delight, a journey of adventure, and a journey of fulfillment. Some of you might be saying, I'm not so sure I'm sold on this yet, Pastor. I've met these people who, they seem so grounded. They have every theological answer. They have every political answer. They have every answer as to how I'm supposed to light these darn candles. Aren't those people of great faith? I say, not generally. Think about it. Now, this might have been you. This might be your kid. This might be your kid in a few years. They go to college. They take Philosophy 101. They take Psychology 101. They take Political Science 101. And they come home. And what does your child do? They look at you and they say, I took Psychology 101. Mom, Dad, you are very messed up. I can now diagnose you with like 17 issues. And because I took Political Science 101, I know that everything you believe is in fact wrong. And I can tell you why, because I had philosophy too. Now, good parents run into that. And good parents hug their children. Why? Because good parents know that all that is bravado, machismo. All that is an insecure adult who has gone to college and their professors have done what the professors are called by God to do, and that is turn that person's world upside down with new information and make them challenge and question everything they see and everything they know. It's the job of your college professors. And that kid, your daughter, your son has come home. They are so confused. They don't know that up is up or down is down or up is down or how that all works anymore. And instead of being vulnerable, because that's the hardest thing to do, they walk in knowing it all. The same way with people of faith. You run into the person of faith who knows all the right answers, you're not talking to someone who's great in faith. You're talking to someone who's insecure in faith. You run into somebody who knows all the right ways a person should vote if you're a Christian, you're not talking to someone of great faith. You're talking to someone insecure faith. If you run into someone who knows every liturgical formula there is and the right way to light the candles, you're not talking to someone of great faith. You're talking to someone who's insecure in faith. See, a person who's secure in faith is a person that you can look into the eyes, ask them a really good question, and they will look you right in the eyes, and with all the honesty and love that they have, will say, "That's a great question. I don't know." Because much of the faith life, if we're honest, is about saying, "I don't know. Let's figure it out together." So those of you who have seen my sermons before know that usually at this point I would say, in your prayer life, go and. But today it is Easter. And so here is my prayer for you. My prayer is, keep asking questions. My prayer is, keep seeking. My prayer is, as you seek and as you question and as you wander, keep encountering God. And if you want to be with an army of seekers, looking and asking, seeking and encountering, know that you have a home here. Amen.